Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom to an only child in the second grade. Today I want to dive in and give you a deeper look into moving beyond the page. If that is something that interests you, then keep on watching. All right, if you have not already, please go follow me over on Instagram. That is where you're going to see everything. So I will have that, my name on screen here, so go follow. So let's just get into it. So we, if you didn't see, quit the Good and the Beautiful language arts earlier this year, probably around our mid-year point, I want to say. If you didn't see that video, I can put it somewhere up here for you to check out. I'm not going to talk about that today, but I have been struggling to find something in replace of that. And we came across Moving Beyond the Page. So this company is, I would say, a little pricey for what is offered. That is honestly just my opinion. These are laid out as language arts, literature units, I guess. I mean, I don't know what you would call it, but it is basically book heavy, book-based activities. So this is ages 7 through 9, and it is considered Concept 3, Unit 1. Now, they also offer science and social studies, and there are ones that are supposed to correlate or line up with the language arts. Now, I did purchase what is supposed to line up with Poppy in particular, which was life cycles. I would say it sort of lines up, but we didn't even open the science book. It just didn't happen. So let's talk. Now, my brain is not functioning well today. So forgive me if I am all mumble jumbled, but that is, maybe I just didn't have enough caffeine. I don't know. Anyway, I am at the point where we are about 2-3 lessons away from completed. Poppy is the book that we are reading. We have about 2 chapters left before it is complete. I do like the book choice. I think this is a great book to do some type of like a literature guide on, as I think the topics within the book are good, even if it's animal based, if that makes any sense. Very, very good, and I'm really enjoying it. She's really enjoying it, and that has been a hit. But the curriculum itself is just not, I'll just be honest. I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I like and some of the things that I don't like. So this is the table of contents. There are 12 lessons and then a final project. So we do 1 lesson each day that we do school. We school 3 days a week. So we're 3, 6, 9, 12, 4 weeks it would take us to get through a guide like this. Now, it is expensive. This is like $16.99 on Moving Beyond the Page website. Wrong, you can double check for me. But what the website is very confusing about is that the website will tell you that they do not need to be done in any type of order. And that is just proven to not be the case for me. And I'm going to explain. So the beginning has everything like you need. Like a note for the parents. It talks about the curriculum structure, the concept units and lessons, vocabulary, spelling, daily journal, and required literature. And then it talks about the structure of the lessons and what a typical day would look like. It says 30 minutes for language arts, reading, and questions. 60 minutes for the lesson, includes vocabulary and spelling. And then if you decided to do science and social studies lesson, math, physical activity, blah, extended projects, and stuff like that. This could essentially take you a lot of time. What I do like is that for each unit, it has a materials list, so I can check those bad boys off early and get everything that I need to know for this unit. What I do not like, it does have a unit review sheet. So it's going to tell you by lesson kind of what's going on in each lesson. Now, it's kind of silly because that they say that you don't need to do it in order, because I believe it was like the first lesson. There are like a lot of activities per lesson, which is not necessary to do every activity. Like, that's just not practical. So if you picked like maybe 1, 2 at most, I think you would be able to fulfill the lesson without needing to feel like you didn't do enough, if that makes sense. So it gives you options, which is nice, but it can be quite overwhelming and definitely requires some prep. So like, you know, they had reviewed the fact that in fantasy stories, events happen that could not happen in the real world. That is activity 1. And then it wants you to try starting your journal. And then activity 2 is mouse and owl research, which we did. And I have definitely found my child's love interest, and she likes to research. So that was really fun for her to look up a great horned owl and deer mouse, as that are the main characters. It does give you some links that you could use, and then it does have a vocabulary extension as well. And then you're going to find any of the activity pages are going to be listed after each lesson. So this was the deer mouse research. So I just simply made a copy of that for her so that we didn't have to write in the book. And as this book is my guide as well. So it does the owl research, and then this was like another activity. So some of it I feel is not quality. Like, this looks like something my daughter could have drew. And maybe there's something there that I'm missing that I didn't read or, you know, do too much research on. So here's the part that I struggled with. It has an introduction, which is great. Sometimes it has questions to ask your kid before you read, and then it has your reading and questions that you discuss after you read. You typically read 2 chapters per lesson, or at least that's how it worked out for Poppy. So she did 1 lesson. Yeah, okay. Here's a good example. So this was in lesson 3. One of the activities is paragraphs. Read the passage on paragraphs to your child with no pauses. Review the fact that paragraphs are made up of sentences that deal with a certain thought or topic. Ask your child to read the passage and decide where a paragraph should end and a new one should begin. He can underline the beginning sentence of a paragraph in green and the concluding in red. Then he can cut the paragraphs apart and glue them on a separate sheet of paper. Let your child read the selection aloud and stomp when he gets to the end of a paragraph. Discuss the difference between his reading and your first reading. Look at pages 20 to 22 and discuss the paragraphs divisions the author has chosen. Review the paragraphs that are made up of sentences that deal with a central thought or topic, and let your child identify the central idea of each paragraph. First of all, that is a lot. That is a lot. That is a lot that I'm like, how am I supposed to just present this idea to my daughter and she's just going to understand how to separate? Sorry, if you can hear my dog, I apologize. But how is she, excuse me, how is my daughter going to know how to do this with just that simple explanation? So when I look at this overwhelming paragraph on this page, and I'm just supposed to hand it off and tell her to find the main ideas and split the paragraphs off, she looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, wait, there's gotta be more to this. There's gotta be more instruction that I'm missing, that I don't understand. And what it's come to, what I've come to realize is that even though the curriculum is stating that you don't have to do these in order of some sort, there is kind of a catch to that, because there is concepts. So as you heard, this is age 7 through 9, concept 3. So what they don't tell you is that some of these concepts have already been brought up in previous units and previous concepts and age groups. And if you don't do those, then you're going to get like a very brief explanation for those activities. And half the time we ended up skipping them. That was only one, and it happened in almost every single lesson where there was at least one thing that didn't make sense and that wasn't enough for me to have her understand how to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, this, I made it work. But for $16.99 per unit, I don't want to just make it work. I want me to be able to take everything from this and utilize it. And I feel like I just couldn't do that without pulling and taking things from other resources and combining them into these units. Something more on paragraphs, something about how a paragraph is structured, what goes into a paragraph and stuff like that. Not just, oh, this is a paragraph, split it up, here's a few, lingering ideas and how to do that. No, I want, if we're going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And we're going to start out with what goes in a paragraph and everything like that. And may those concepts have been taught in other previous lessons. We started with Poppy because I read that you didn't have to go in order. So that kind of made it difficult for me because I had to start really planning. This was not an open and go curriculum. I had to sit down. I had to go, okay, what activities are we doing per week? What is she going to understand? And what will I have to, either find more things on to pull resources or information, or are we just going to skip this all together? And so basically for this entire unit, I did a whole lot of skipping on activities, and we tended to just talk about the book after reading it. So I didn't even do vocabulary or any of those things. If she found a word in the book and didn't know what it meant, we talked about it, we explained it, and that was it. Otherwise, we just didn't do it. And I felt like I wasn't utilizing it because I just didn't have the resources to pull and teach her that well, without like the guidance that we would get from like a true language arts curriculum. So for me, moving beyond the page worked because I made it work, but I won't be repurchasing it unless I found some free ones somewhere. Because it's not for us. I think we fell in love with the idea of literature guides. And so I am on a hunt for the best literature guides that are more structured and I don't have to go in order or anything like that. It'll just be like this in the literature guide, the book and the literature guide. And yeah, I don't know. If you have any recommendations for that, please let me know down below in the comments. But needless to say, we did enjoy Poppy the book. She has already requested for all of the other books listed in the series to read on her own, which is great because I wanted to pick a book that I knew she would truly enjoy. And she loves anything with animals, so I knew it would be a great fit. Another thing that I did not care for this curriculum is that it is very black and white. There is no color. It's just, for us, like all my planning pages are even in color. Like, I enjoy color, and Good and the Beautiful spoiled us in that respect because all of their curriculum books are filled with lots and lots of color, and it just gets boring when you just sit there and it's just words on a page. There's nothing exciting about that. So I thought it could be more, but I was expecting more, and I was just let down, honestly, and it just didn't work for us. Now, it may work for you. You may want to start from beginning to end, but I thought it was just a little too pricey for how I know it is laid out and everything that is in these for me to just continue that. I like the idea of having final projects and having options. For that, I'm going to tell you what the final project looks like so you can have an idea of what is a final project for this book. Is part 1. It's a Poppy Think Tic-Tac-Toe. So it's to give your child the tic-tac-toe page and explain that they must complete these mini projects to get 3 in a row across, down, or diagonally. They reflect multiple intelligences. It is important to allow your child to make his or own selections that he can work within his strengths and interests. And then students learned about plot diagrams in Unit 1, Lesson 9, Tornado. Well, we didn't read Tornado Unit 1, Lesson 9. So, but then it says if your child did not complete the unit or needs a reminder about plot diagrams, tell him that the problem is the main challenge or conflict that the main character is facing. The rising action includes important points in the story that lead up to the climax and the most challenging and exciting event in the story. The falling action tells what happens after the climax, and the resolution is the end of the story where the problem is now solved. Here are some possible answers for the diagram. You guys, if I were to present this with my daughter next week for her final project, she would be like, what? Climax? Falling action? Resolution? Like, she would have no idea, even by telling her what they just told me to tell her, to understand. There's no way she'd understand that. And then part 2 is language think tic-tac-toe. Tell your child that the language think tic-tac-toe must select an activity from each row to complete. And then the first column is vocabulary, the second is writing, and the third is prefixes and suffixes. Review your child's work, recommend the areas that he should check, attempt to improve, or rethink. Let him make his changes and see what his work is of high quality. Let them share their projects from the Poppy with family members. So this is the plot diagram. Climax, rising action, problem, title, resolution. Here is Poppy Think Tic-Tac-Toe. So they created a tic-tac-toe. They could write, complete your choice of the mini projects to get 3 in a row, across, down, or diagonally. So, like, I'm just gonna put this as close as I can. Poppy loved to dance. Make up a dance that Poppy would do and select the right music to go with the moves. Create a plot diagram for the story. Write a song about Dimwood Forest. The mood of the song should reflect the way you feel about the forest. In a paragraph, describe how cycles are a theme of the book. Cycle of power, death, and new life in the food chain. Use evidence from text to provide supporting details. Use evidence from the text to provide supporting details. If I told her that, she wouldn't even know what that means. Create a maze with Poppy at one and the new house at the other. At places that are dead ends, draw obstacles from the story. Pretend that you are Poppy. Write a journal entry that explains how you felt after defeating Mr. Okax. Okay, she can do a journal entry. Write an acoustic poem. Pretend you're throwing a victory party for Poppy upon her return home. Make a card for her. Decide what present you would give her. Explain how you selected it. Decide what song you would play and how you selected it. There are options. There are easy options and there are challenging options, and I can appreciate that. I really can. But this is just not my idea of a final project. I'm probably going to combine some things and create my own project for her to do. So the language arts version is vocabulary. Use 6 vocab words and sentences. Write a diamante poem. Write 5 phases using alliteration. Add ing to 3 verbs and ed to 3 verbs. So, okay, fine. But that's not exciting, guys. Like, we do so many different things that are just exciting. And this was just, it was not exciting. The book was great, but I just didn't like the content that they had. Some of it was golden and some of it was just not. And for me, I'm out. But I just wanted to show you. So this is an overview. So it has the language arts units on concept 1 is on amazing weather, the land, the sound, tornado, Sarah Plain and Tall, and who is Helen Keller. So we were already on concept 3. So we had missed all of these, and it could be why like I'm stuck on that. But like, don't put on your website then that you can start wherever. Like, don't make me think I can start with any unit then, because that's clearly not the case. Like, you can, but that's not the case. So that is it. We will not be doing any more moving beyond the page. These are going to go up for sale, and I'm going to continue getting her other books in the series. I may consider taking their book lists and just doing some independent reading, or even just like read alouds with some of the books that they have for their units, but we just won't be purchasing their units. I hope any of this made sense and that you have a clearer picture of how moving beyond the page is. I'm trying not to be negative because I did thoroughly enjoy the book, and I did appreciate the different challenges within the lessons, but some of it was just lacking for me and not something that I'm looking for my homeschool. Let me know in the comments, do you have any literature guides that you absolutely love? Please let me know. I am still on the hunt for next year and what our curriculum is going to be for 3rd grade. So please let me know your ideas in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.